let's talk about what we're going to be up to a little bit, and I'm going to start with a question for the panel. As we discussed, all of you guys have worked on phenomenal, really huge, awesome universes. And the question to the panel is, what is it about a universe that makes it something that you can write in again and again?
Well, to me, it's it's an ultimate sandbox. Like, world building is, I mean, it's one of the most wonderful things about fiction. It's, you can take all of you create a whole entire universe that's completely self-contained but infinite. I mean, it's as infinite as life itself. It's wild, and to take these like little sandbox things, parts of the universe, and just try to connect the dots in any dramatic and tension-filled way you possibly can.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Wow, that made a lot of noise.
Yeah.
I think the fun thing about being part of a universe like the Halo universe, like any of the big universes out there, is that it gives you the opportunity to be part of something that's bigger than you are yourself.
Sure, yeah.
Because I mean, I write my own stuff and I have my fans, but I've never written anything that's had the kind of depth and reach and fan base and excitement that the Halo universe generates. And it is fun, but it's also invigorating to be, and also a little bit of an honor, to be selected to be part of that tapestry, to bring an aspect of that universe to life for the fans who love it and feel so, passionate about it. Hold on.
Yeah, I think one of the most satisfying things for me is we're obviously having conversations with Greg and Karen about the content of their novels, and it seems to me that the universe is so rich now and so fleshed out that whenever there's a question, Karen asked me yesterday, has Halsey ever committed any kind of acts of atrocity? Because she wanted to look at some really dark stuff in that side of the universe, and we're like, oh yeah, here's a list. And the questions that we're asked almost invariably have either good, solid existing answers or amazing or exciting potential answers. And I think Greg would agree with that in terms of how some of the conversations go.
Yeah, working with these guys is fabulous. We turn out to be pretty much in synergy. I try to do the most radical thinking, and suddenly they say, hey, that's cool, that's what we've been thinking of. And I realize that these guys are really in command of the whole universe here, and allowing me to play in that sandbox in the very early infant stages is utterly astonishing. So I'm having fun playing with human origins and major questions, and I think I'm just having fun playing in the sandbox. I've played in other sandboxes, I've made my own sandboxes, and I enjoy collaboration, especially with a really good team.
You know what else is cool about this? That what we do counts. And by that I mean I've been writing Star Trek novels for a long time. A lot of people have been writing Star Trek novels, and none of those novels count in what is considered the official, real, quote unquote, Star Trek universe. I mean, Paramount has made the distinction. They say what happens on television in the movies is Star Trek fact, and what happens in the novels and comics is Star Trek fiction, which prompted one fan to say, my God, they tell us to get a life. What's interesting about Halo is that it's all canonical. It's all part of the vast universe. What you read, it's not like, here's the video games, and over here are the comic books, and over here are the novels, but they don't count. You can ignore them. No. I mean, if you just want to play the video games, fine, you can do that. But if you read the other material, it enriches the entire experience, and it's all relevant to the entire picture. And that's really tremendously exciting.
Yeah, and I think the launch of Halo Reach this year, which will be the biggest, the most ambitious, and the best Halo game ever, speaks to that, because it's set in a corner of the universe that was first explored in Fall of Reach, which some of you are familiar with. And it shows how seriously we take that and how integrated it is. That's not to say it's perfect. We make stumbles here and there, and we try to address those as quickly and sensibly as possible, but we do take every single aspect of that canon and that history very seriously.
Yeah, riffing a little bit on what Peter said, that's my favorite thing and probably the most terrifying thing about my job and what we do at the studio is because everything does count and the responsibility that carries with it to do a good job, to do a tight job with that, but also with all the partners that we're so very lucky to have who want to come play in the Halo universe, both like folks up here and frankly all of you guys, is to do right by everyone when we keep that universe together and keep it tight and keep the story moving forward in exciting ways. So it's frequently very scary, but it's the best job I could think of.
So I want to ask a couple questions to our authors. I'll start with Greg. And so you're known for your giant science in your science fiction worlds. What about the Halo science brought you to the universe?
It's a classic science fiction. You know, science fiction is always a multitude of sins clustered together to be convincing. Faster than light travel is always a problem, but how do you play with it? You realize what elements are more fantastic than others. I think the look of Halo follows the tradition of really good military hard science fiction, the sort of stuff that I was raised on. And I find myself fitting right into it. Also, I go way back. I go back to the days of Doc Smith and Jack Williamson, and again, we're following that long tradition of rather extraordinary characters doing extraordinary things in amazing universes, and I feel right at home.
Speaking of going way back, if you guys will permit, so you were one of the co-founders of San Diego Comic-Con, but it was called, I wrote it down, Golden State Comic Book Convention.
Way back when
in 1969. Did you ever think it was going to be 100,000 people and take over the city?
No, let me take you back. The Wayback Machine is set to 1969 at the basement of the El Cortez Hotel, 200 sweaty comic book fans, just having a good time. And then you look around and some of the people who were there are now superstars. And Jack Kirby showed up, and Ray Bradbury showed up, and afterwards all the fans would get together with Ray at the cafeteria across the street at 7:30 and dine and chat. I mean, those were glory days. They were great fun. We watched it grow over the years in the 1980s to 10,000, 20,000. We watched San Diego want to kick it out because all these sweaty comic book geeks were spilling out onto the streets, and that spoiled their view. And then the hotel said, no, please don't. That's our entire summer. And then it did become the entire summer, and now you can't get on the trolleys. All the mundanes are out there trying to ride the trolleys, and they can't read the signs because they're in Klingon. But I was on one parts of the committee, and a more serious and constructive part. There were other raucous parts, and there were the hard comic book geeks and the artists and the science fiction writers, and we all had a great time. We all meshed together and did different roles, and people like Ken Kruger and Shel Dorf were our mentors, and they basically told us, do what you will and do it well. And that's what came out of it. It turned out that the team actually created a meme. It was really cool. And you guys are carrying it on wonderfully, I think. I love this entire mass 130,000 group. I mean, just walking through it is it's like one of the major cultural phenomena of our time. To me, it's similar to going back to ancient Alexandria and walking through the library. You guys are the new library of Alexandria.
That's awesome. So Karen, we know you as an author who's fantastic with tales of personal tales and character studies. For, what you did with Cortana and Human Weakness changed the way we saw Halo 3. What are you looking forward to playing with?
Partly creating some new characters, because what I like is a lot of space to play. Partly because I'm too bone idle to go and actually check up on continuity.
Can you move the mic a little bit closer? You're so demure we can't hear you.
Yeah, I like the idea of creating some new characters because...
There you go.
Sorry.
Perfect.
I'll start again.
No, there you go. You got it.
I like the idea of creating some new characters, but I also like the fact that there are some really messed up people already in the Halo universe. I don't like normal people.
Boy, are you in the right place.
I mean, there is nothing more boring for a writer than having normal characters, because normal characters give you no drama. You want people who are suffering. I like messed up people. I like people with horrible pasts. I like people with angst.